Hello, my name is Philip Wesley and I represent Radio DMG, Area DMG, and DMGICE.com. That's DMGICE.com. Anyhow, I don't normally address any sort of issue with our content and our coverage on DMGICE.com. In fact, since 1997, we've only had about 3 instances where we have had to address any kind of controversy. In fact, the only reason I'm doing this now, for this particular instance, is, well, you'll find out later on in this video. So, let me give you a little bit of history about DMGICE. DMGICE was started in 1997. We've been around for over 18 years. We've interviewed over 50 plus people. We've been to scores of events. We've covered all sorts of organizations and conventions, and we have provided content for hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, several millions of people over the years. We've been part of IGN, we've won About.com awards, Mining.com awards, we've been mentioned and quoted in Village Voice, Wired, we've been nominated and won awards from Yahoo, from About.com, again, Dogpile, Nintendo's Endlist. We've gotten accolades from many companies that we've worked with, and we've worked with several press outlets and groups over the years. But this is an issue that, well, we may not be covering Animeland Wasabi 2014 this year, and I would like to apologize in advance for that to all of our loyal readers and fans and viewers, that you may not see myself or Squishy at Animeland Wasabi 2014, and if this isn't addressed or put through, or if nothing is done about this in 2015, 2016, 2017, or beyond, we will not acknowledge them in the future if nothing is done to rectify the situation currently. So, let me get down to a bit about what happens. Every year, we put out and reach these conventions to cover them as press. Now, covering someone as press involves responsibility and trust. You see, I trust that the convention will at least attempt to schedule interviews, provide access to guests and events, and behave in a professional manner. They trust that I will cover the convention fairly before, during, and after the convention, and with a modicum of discretion on what we make public and what we don't make public. Because here at DMGICE, we are uncharacteristically polite in our coverage because we believe there should be a modicum of prudence. We don't believe in slash journalism. We don't do gotcha questions. We run questions by people before we interview them. We clear footage with conventions, and we really have hours of footage and photos and other items that we just don't use because we make sure that things are cleared. We make sure that, well, that we behave in a professional manner toward these. Our job when we go to a convention is to not only show interest in the convention and show in a factual way what's happening at the convention. In a way, we're kind of like free marketing almost for a convention, but we don't show any kind of abject familiarity or favorability over one convention to another. So we try our best to be fair and honest with our coverage. And that's what we do. In fact, let me tell you a little bit about what happened last year at Animeland Wasabi. Now, Animeland Wasabi of 2013 had quite a few different issues. There was lack of communication between the hotel staff and the convention staff, leading to a lot of upset people. They only had one printing press or printer for their badges, which led to long delays. They had all sorts of organizational problems. And then afterwards, they were served with a lawsuit from Funimation over bootleg products and other items. Now, we didn't cover any of the lawsuit in our coverage, because even though I do have access to the materials and the paperwork from that due to having a Pacer account, we didn't publish that. We didn't make that public because, well, I believe that Denver, Aurora, Colorado, all of us need a convention. We need conventions. There are few and far between of them for our genre, for anime. There's really just Animeland Wasabi and non-Descon. Maybe in the future, newer conventions will pop up. There's like Denver Comic Con, which, by the way, has its whole other controversy, which we're not getting into, because at that point, it's not our place to report on that until all the dust is settled. Because, well, I don't like to go forward in conjecture. I don't like to be, I don't like to feel like I'm not telling you the full truth. And that's why we didn't cover all that with Animeland Wasabi. We did, however, cover them with over 900 photos. We covered them beforehand with posts on Facebook and Twitter, in our various social mediums, on Radio DMG. We got two audio interviews that were released. I'll go into a little bit about what we asked for, what we got, and what we were able to put out. And we covered them before in video, as well as, well, this year, thanks to our ability to now do press releases and more articles, since we revamped the library, we were covering Animeland Wasabi's press releases as well. Even going so far as to make custom graphics for that, and last year we even printed out over 500 business cards with a little AW logo on it for Animeland Wasabi. We distributed those, some before the convention, some after the convention, and we did mention the convention. We gave out information through Radio DMG, Area DMG, Animation is Art, and DMGIce.com. We covered them in all possible ways, both before, during, and after the convention, and those links to those were sent to their press liaison at the time. Their press liaison is a guy named bode Dufresne. Sounds a little like Dufrand or something, some type of vegetable. Anyways, we even had a Radio DMG show with him as a special guest, which we didn't use because of a problem with the audio. We ended up, when I was looking through the files for that, we ended up where parts of that were not high enough to be picked up by the microphone, and there was just a lot of white noise, so it became kind of unusable. I may put it out as part of a Glorious Excess episode in the future, so watch for that. But what we did is we covered it in all sorts of ways. In fact, we covered it, and then this year we submitted our information as usual to in November and early December, actually. Late November, early December. We actually, the people who were putting out their press releases, MEG Productions or something, she actually said that we were approved for press this year. And then she sent an email saying, make sure that you filled out the forms again just in case, so that we have it all on record. And I went ahead and filled out the form for the, I think it was the third time. And then I got back an email from Bode Dufresne stating that due to prior behavior and failure to cover Animeland Wasabi in 2013, that we would be denied press passes. That seemed kind of odd because I'm pretty sure I didn't imagine all those Facebook posts, Twitter posts, over 900 photos, video, audio coverage before, during, and after the convention, including printing out over 500 business cards with the little Animeland Wasabi logo in them to promote the event and to promote our coverage of the event. So I'm pretty sure we did that, so I wanted to know a little bit more about that behavior. So I made a bunch of phone calls, and I made phone calls to guests and to voice actors and to Animeland Wasabi staff. I talked to a lot of people via Facebook, Twitter, and phone calls, and I just wanted to know more about that. You see, it came to me my attention that apparently a guest had said that we said your loss over a refusal to do an interview with them. Like, they refused to do an interview with us, and I said, or they say I said, or we said, somebody related to us must have said, your loss, which I have no recollection of that. There are only 2 staff members currently with us who would cover this event. That would be myself and Sarah Tomasi. And Squishy doesn't talk. He just telepathically sends things. But yeah, we hadn't heard about any sort of incident. In fact, last year, when we were asked to submit interviews, we submitted a list of about 12 people to interview, and we ended up with 2 of them. Both of the interviews were done in the hotel restaurant, and one of those had to be recorded by the kitchen. One of them, we ended up waiting about 30 minutes before they would even let us in to actually record anything inside of the hotel restaurant because of miscommunication between the press liaison and the hotel. So, these things happen, but we were only able to get 2 out of the 12 that we requested, and they were told to go ahead and just schedule stuff on our own. Personally, I prefer to not have to do that because that opens up things for misunderstandings or to schedule conflicts, and we don't want to do that because we don't want to get in the way of the job that these voice actors or bands are there to do. So anyways, we ended up having to go and ask people. So that's a little frustrating, I suppose, is the best way to put it, because you have to track down people and get their information and such, and go out there and set these up. It's kind of it's nice when a convention can give you a room to do interviews in and set up schedules for it. Almost every convention that I've been to, you do this. When you're doing a interview at, say, E3, you set it up with the company beforehand, and they give you a time and scheduled place to be for that interview. Works out just fine. I've had no trouble with that with things like Atlas or with Nintendo or with other interviews and stuff that we've done in the past. And if we can't get an interview at the convention, we usually share information between ourselves and the person we'd like to interview so that we can do a Skype interview or something after the convention is over when their schedule is cleared up. So we ended up having to track down and approach people. We approached Johnny Young Bosch and his band. I think iShine is the name of it. We approached Steve Nunez, Yamila Abraham, Janie McGonigal, and Justin Carmichael, amongst others. When we approached Johnny Young Bosch, he was being kind of pestered by some other people at his booth. You see, he had a booth in the dealer's room. Over here you had Gimme Anime, and then his booth was over here next to some other ones, and there's some people pestering him because, I don't know, maybe they didn't like his voicing of Akira in Akira, or maybe they don't like Vash. I don't know, I mean, yeah, who knows. Anyways, he seemed a little bit irritated, so I waited until after they left and approached him about doing an interview with him and his band. And he said that their schedule was pretty busy and they probably would not be able to. So we exchanged information and business cards and said that maybe after the convention, if our schedules don't line up, we can go ahead and do a Skype interview. And then we went off and we talked to Yamila Abraham, who we ran a few questions by. Then her schedule didn't match up properly either, which was sad. We couldn't get schedules to match up with Steven Nunez and a couple of the other people, but we did go to Jamie McGonigal's It Gets Better panel, and since we were the only ones who showed up to that one, we ended up doing an impromptu interview with him at his panel, which was pretty great. Him and I don't agree politically on some things, but it was a fun interview, and unfortunately there's some audio problems where stuff is said that isn't completely audible, and we'll work on that. I'm still working on repairing on that. I have so much other stuff to do as well, but we'd like to put that into a Glorious Excess episode in the future. But overall, that was our interaction with the guests and the voice actors and the bands. So I was pretty surprised when this accusation came up. And then I started to hear kind of disturbing rumors about what it might be. You see, sometimes we have friends from conventions who are friends outside of conventions. You see, I believe in a separation of your personal and your professional life, right? It's okay to cover somebody in a professional context and also be a friend with them offline, off of that, out of that professional aspect. In fact, we had a friend of ours who had some disagreements with Bo in the past, and some things I guess were said between the two of them, and we thought maybe this might have something to do with that. His way of just getting back at us for helping her move furniture, which that just comes across as wrong. It really bothers me when people let their egos get into the way of or affect a convention that they're volunteering to help with or run. So I thought it might be that, and I posted that up on Facebook. Then I got a personal email from Bo saying that it wasn't that at all, and that he had maybe I could come to a solution or something with that. So I sent him an email back stating that I wanted this solution and what the complaint actually was in writing, so that there's no misunderstanding or subjecture. And I never got a response back from that. In fact, many of these files, since I do keep all files, like pretty much any correspondence I keep, I've always done that, and it's because we report on things. We keep footage. We have footage we can't use, but we keep it. And I have those listed in the links below. So, anyways, I kept pressing to see what was the issue, because last year we did so well. We were even, like, after doing a Radio DMG episode with Bo, he said it was the most fun he's had on a podcast in a long time. He said we were professional and excellent. In fact, in one of the emails I'll post up there, a screen cap of, he said that we were part of their permanent press pool at Animeland Wasabi. Let me say that again. Part of their, quote, permanent press pool, end quote. So, I was very surprised to get a denial from it, especially after we'd been approved by the people releasing all their press releases. So, after faithfully putting out all that content coverage and such, and being accused of this, I dug a little bit deeper, and I found out that here's what happened. After Animeland Wasabi, I have notes over here, and we'll post up these links and our evidences in the links below on the video. After Animeland Wasabi was sued by Funimation, and this became known publicly, Anime News Network posted a story about it. In their forums feedback, in their talkback section on Anime News Network, Bo Dufresne made an account called The Atomic Truth, quote, The Atomic Truth, end quote, and stated quite a few allegations. This was removed by, I think, Justin Savakis from Anime News Network and screen capped, sent to various people at NDK and at other conventions. And let's see, I think that, like, it was just, at the time I was like, wow, that's kind of horrible, and just kind of put it aside. Then there was a huge kerfluffle, or rather arguments, all over the Animeland Wasabi forum page. I made one post on the Animeland forum page talking about the difference between 501c and 501d, etc., about nonprofit organizations. And then I've posted things, and Sarah had posted some items about that. All of these were deleted from their forum, and they kind of nuked their forums from orbit after this. So, we can have personal opinions about people, and based on the comments that Bo had said, directed at friends of ours, Sarah doesn't have a high opinion of Bo. And after this, my opinion of him is not improved in any way. So, I found out that the real reason that we were being denied press access is because on a Facebook post on someone else's wall, away from Animeland Wasabi, NDK, etc., etc., Sarah posted that she felt that Bo was rude, or rather being an ass toward one of our friends, and she said that she didn't like him. Now I found out that this Facebook post, which he ended up deleting, is the reason we're not being allowed to go to Animeland Wasabi. He'd sent me an email saying a, quote, solution, end quote. Turned out, after some more digging and some more asking around, that his solution was that he wanted Sarah to, quote, get on her knees and apologize in person, end quote.
Beg for mercy. Beg for freedom. Beg for forgiveness.
Yeah, to apologize in person, to beg forgiveness for that, for a Facebook post. One, I have to say something about that, because frankly, the language in that, quote, get on your knees and beg for forgiveness, that is sexist, misogynistic, rapey, really, really rapey, and really, really, really awful bullshit. Really, just, really? No. That's, no. Sarah has every right to say what she wants on her personal Facebook. That does not blend into our professional DMG Ice, Radio DMG, etc. But this, get on your knees and beg for forgiveness, that's a quote. That, we unfortunately, in the media, especially the video game related media, have had to deal with controversies over the last years. The stuff that's said to Anita Sinarkin, I'm totally butchering her last name, is just awful. The way people treat each other is just awful, especially the way they treat women and people of the LGBT community. Just the misogyny of that, this get on your knees and beg for forgiveness, that is exactly what we don't want the press, especially the video game and anime related press, to do. That is exactly the type of attitude that is a Stone Age attitude. That is a Dick Wolves attitude. That is a, okay, recently there was some controversy, well, it should be controversy, with a person who did I guess some indie gaming blog telling an indie game designer that he would give her good coverage if she had sex with him. That type of misogynistic, sexist, backward Stone Age bullshit is what we need to get away from, and I am very, very, very offended that it would come from a press liaison for a local anime convention that serves Colorado. You see, I did ask Greg Richardson of Colorado Cutthroat Connection about our press stuff, but I didn't have solid sources on what was said yet until after he'd decided to stand by Bo. I would prefer if they would show some class and not do that. Seriously. I'm making this video particularly just to air those concerns and let you know why we may not be covering Animeland Wasabi 2014, 2015, 2016, or beyond unless this attitude that they have changes, because that's awful. Why on earth would you say that? Why on earth would you insinuate that? It's, you see, when Animeland Wasabi had all that controversy with the lawsuit, I was a little concerned about where they're going to go with that, or what they were going to do for the future. When Colorado Cutthroat Connection came in as a financier, and they spent lots of money to make this a better convention, to upgrade it to be better. This year was going to be much better. It was going to be an evolution, a forward step in Animeland Wasabi's history. It was going to be a better convention. It was going to be, they were going to address all those problems and fix those. But with this kind of attitude toward press and toward women, or rather, in particular, this incident, well, I would have mentioned that too, but I have to also put out something else as well, because I have a lot of people on my LinkedIn account. Now, I had Bo on my LinkedIn account. In fact, he's the only person I have ever removed from my LinkedIn account. And I have people on my LinkedIn account who represent Occupy Wall Street, the Tea Party, and who also represent things like Westboro Baptist Church and the LaRouche Foundation. And I have not removed them. But I did remove Bo because I was finding out from my LinkedIn contacts that he was sending them emails and telling them not to trust me or my outlet. And I have to stand up and defend the best interests of my company, of DMG Ice, and our constituents, and our branches, because I can't have that happening. That's wrong. It's malicious. It's awful. So I deleted him from my LinkedIn account. And I don't follow him on Facebook. I'm not his friend on Facebook. And frankly, I'm just very disappointed that a convention that should be growing, what should be an interesting and crucial year in the development and evolution of Animeland Wasabi, is tainted in this way. It bothers me a bit. I had such high hopes that this year would be a much smoother and awesome convention, because Colorado Cutthroat Connection can run events, and they have run events in the past, and they've done well at this. But I was looking forward to seeing a brand new Animeland Wasabi, looking forward to covering it. I don't want an apology from Bo, because he has anger issues or something. I'll pray for him. But I am disappointed that I won't be allowed to do my job, which is to cover a convention and to take pictures and to promote it and do general good feelings about that. But I was looking forward to seeing this new and evolved Animeland Wasabi this year, but it's just a shame that the brand new Animeland Wasabi is still just a little broken.